Hi all and welcome to Happy Siblings. As you know, my sibling is not with me this time because I have something really special to share with all of you from a adventure that I took this past weekend. And without further ado, let's get right into it. So many of you know I was posting from CPAC little shorts, which hopefully you enjoyed. The short about Elon, I made it to about 1,000 views, which is amazing. So go check those out. But with this episode, we are going to be doing a full recap. My goal with CPAC was to meet some new people, listen to a bunch of amazing speakers, and be able to upload some content for our podcast. And I was able to collect some interviews of some people that I ended up meeting. The first amazing duo that I interviewed was a man from Ethiopia and another friend from DCYR that was there, which we're going to get into right now. Welcome. If I could just get your names really quickly.
David Mindock.
Adisa Manasseh.
Okay, nice to meet you. And where are you originally from?
I'm from Ethiopia originally.
Born in Detroit.
Would you consider yourself conservative?
Yes, I was in college Republicans. I've always been conservative, but just being a libertarian at this point is wildly conservative now. So they've moved the goalposts so far into Insaneville. It's pretty crazy. But I'm a follower of Luke von Mises and Murray Rothbard's of the libertarian movement.
Right. Did you attend the National Libertarian Convention by chance?
No, I think they're crazy.
So we have episode 2 on our podcast that we actually went to the National Libertarian Convention, and it was in DC, and it was wild. So definitely gotta check that out if you can. But anyway, so and you are? Would you consider yourself also conservative, Adisu, or?
So I'm towards being conservative, but I'm a Trump fan.
Okay.
I'm a Trump fan since day one. Before he was into the politics, before he started all this thing, before like when he was businessman. I used to read a lot about him. The book, The Art of the Deal.
Right.
Everything is just like.
Did you watch his show?
Home Alone?
No. What is it called? The
Apprentice.
the show, The Intern, The Apprentice.
Well, I've started, but the movie I don't like it that much, to be honest. The show. But just in general, his role in New York.
Right.
His states, his business mindset and everything is really remarkable, and there's a lot to learn from him.
Okay, so what is the one thing from MAGA that you feel like is a goal or a moral that you feel very connected to?
Well, first MAGA, because there's faith. This country is built on faith, and America is losing faith. They're going towards the wrong direction, and I feel like there has to be a way where the government needs an outsider, and Trump is the right guy. He's an outsider,
Yes.
So this is what we need.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right, and for you, David, what are you hoping for America's future?
I'm hoping that we can successfully reduce the size of government without a lot of internal conflict. Normally, when you have an upheaval in government, it is a very dangerous and life-threatening thing. A lot of the population dies historically every time countries reduce government.
Right.
Historically, this might be the first time in history we've been able to do it peacefully, with as little bloodshed as possible. So let's hope that we can successfully reduce the size of government and get them out of our hair, at least keep the beast in somewhat. But this would be a first time in history, honestly. The Russian Empire, when it fell, look at what happened to their population. And to put this in perspective, Napoleon wrote about the Chinese Empire. He was afraid of it. And China was already internally failing upon itself. That's why he didn't go toward Europe. But Napoleon was terrified of China in his own writings. However,
but we're not afraid of China. Huh?
Yeah.
Let's hope not. Well,
terrorists on China.
However, they're going to ship all their people here anyway.
All
They're
right.
already here, So yeah.
Adisu, what is one of the things that you've admired so far that Trump has done in this new administration, this new election, this new term for him?
So first of all, I'm a big fan of his foreign policies. America, is always first. Dealing with America's interest always. Even as an immigrant, to be honest, it's very good for U.S. but also for other countries. There's a lot of things that the guy is doing just because to get
To promote America first.
exactly. And
Exactly.
the guy, he has money, he's rich. He doesn't need he's 17 years old and he doesn't need that much of power. You know, he has everything that he needs, and
Right.
this is just a testimony. You know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and I hope you guys enjoy CPAC.
Oh, yeah, wonderful. Thank you.
The second interview that I held was just two people walking around who ended up meeting at the YAF booth, which is Young Americans Foundation. And I interviewed them, and they are two students that go to Gettysburg University.
Do you consider yourself conservative? If yes, how would you define that in your lifestyle, or what does it mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely go first. I would certainly say that I'm a conservative, and I would just say that what that means to me is having, natural law principles, believing in a Christian ethos, believing in just a universalizable moral principle, and the fact that the government is there to do what we allow them to do, not the other way around. So yeah, definitely a conservative.
So you're really feeling Doge.
I am. I think that we need to create ways to maximize the impact of every federal taxpayer dollar, because that is a duty that the government has to the people.
Right.
Yeah, we need to streamline the work.
What is one thing that you feel like taxpayer dollars could go better funding to?
Ooh,
Like your top, let's give top three.
top three. I mean, we already spend a lot of money on our military. I think that it could be better optimized. I certainly wouldn't cut funding, but I would just say, get rid of the waste, fraud, and abuse.
Yes.
I think that in terms of like social services, I mean, personally, as much as I would like to believe that it's the role of the church to take care of the poor and people who need help, I understand that the government is going to have programs, right? And so making sure that the way the government is helping people isn't actually getting them deeper into the hole,
Right.
and it's a hand up,
Yes.
right, not a handout.
I like that.
And so, yeah, and then maybe for a third, I think that we could do a little bit better, honestly, on highways. I just in certain parts of the country, there's just potholes everywhere, and I'm like, look, like we put in so much money into our Department of Transportation.
Right.
Like, why do we have crappy infrastructure? I mean, even like bridges is bigger than highways, I would say. So bridges.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. And what about you? I'll restate the question. Do you consider yourself conservative? If yes, what does that mean for you, and how do you see it in your own lifestyle?
I'm conservative because I really feel we need to continue on the legacy that previous generations of Americans have built for us. And that really comes in multiple ways. It's economical, yes, but it goes so much deeper. We need to continue the social, cultural, and family traditions and just maintain a sense of who we are. A national identity is essential to maintaining a nation, and that's one thing I hope to conserve.
Nice. What is one thing that you're hoping for America's future with this new term for Trump?
I want to see continued restoration of dignity to the American worker. They are definitely the most oppressed people in the entire world at this moment. And anything we can do to continue to uplift Americans, provide them opportunity, and restore the American dream. I think that's what Trump ran on, and he has a mandate to do it.
Amazing.
I mean, I'm personally looking forward to increased protections for the unborn. I know that, Trump has said we're going to leave it up to the states. We're going to leave it up to the states. I think that we have a lot of strong state legislators out there who are going to get it done in more conservative states. I think that incrementalism isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it's counterproductive for us Catholics to say, we're going to accept nothing less than a full ban on abortion in any legislation. Like, well, look, I mean, if you start from a place of there's no restrictions, and then someone says, well, hey, what about a 12-week ban, right? That's not where we want to be in the end game, but it's helpful for now. You're still saving lives in the moment.
Right.
So I'm looking forward to that. And then also us upholding just immigration law, right?
Yeah.
So as Catholics, we're called to help the poor, help the needy, help people who are in danger. But at the same time, too, the church also teaches that, like, borders are essential.
There are sovereign borders.
Yeah, we have sovereign borders, right? And we have to uphold that. So we're not saying you can't come. You're saying we have to follow the law.
And also, when you do end up immigrating, you respect the land, you respect the culture,
Absolutely.
you try to assimilate as best as possible.
That's the catechism right there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Are you doing catechism / Bible in a year with Father Mike Smits?
Ooh. So I probably should.
I highly recommend. I did Bible in a year last year. That was incredible. I did it on my way to work. Now I'm doing catechism in a year, and that is a lot shorter and a lot more condensed and really manageable. So I highly recommend.
Okay, yeah, I'll look into it. I'll look into it.
Okay, last question. What are you most looking forward to at CPAC?
Ooh. I want to meet Georgia Maloney, big fan, and then I'm also looking forward to seeing a bunch of my friends who I know will be here.
Oh, amazing.
I'm also looking forward to just reconnecting with all the great friends I've made across the country. Events like this are great opportunities for people to come back together, and I would really like to get a chance to discuss cryptocurrency with Michael Saylor.
Amazing. Well, enjoy CPAC. It was lovely to meet y'all. Thank you for stopping to interview a little bit.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. God bless.
Yeah.
An interview that I was able to get were with two amazing women who are at Hillsdale, and hearing about their experience too and what they are excited for the future.
Again, if you are considering yourself conservative, how does that look like for you? What does it mean?
So I consider myself conservative just because that aligns best with my personal beliefs. I want to actually go into journalism, so I try to stay very unbiased when it comes to my professional side. But when it comes to my personal beliefs, I believe that the conservative effort, what it believes regarding pro-life, what it believes for rights for women, what it believes for rights for all Americans, I believe that most accurately goes along with what I personally believe. And I'm very excited to get to be here and get to meet other people who think the same way I do, but also maybe get to hear some slightly different takes on conservatism and what that means across the board.
Right. What is one talk that you are looking forward to?
So actually, I'm really looking forward to the one by J.D. Vance. He's kind of become a national figure. Of course, Trump has as well. But that kind of underdog story of where he comes from is super inspirational as someone who comes from maybe not the same situation, but has seen that around America and how a lot of people have been impacted by some of the similar stuff that he has been. So I'm very much looking forward to kind of hearing what he has to say today.
Amazing. Thank you. Okay, and restating the question. If you consider yourself conservative, what does that look like for you?
So I do consider myself conservative. I also am a Christian, so I feel like I want to have my political beliefs also align with my religious beliefs. And when you look at the policy, the legislation that comes from the left side and from the right, to me, it seems to be most reasonable to adopt a conservative viewpoint, again, especially with pro-life legislation and just with various pieces on even foreign and international affairs. And so I feel like it's very important to not only say that you're conservative, but also put action behind that and actually be educating yourself, informing yourself, about your legislators, about people in the House of Representatives, Senate, and the presidency. What are they actually doing? And are they willing to support their positions? And how does that also trickle down to the American people and support the governed?
Right. What is one way you feel like people could educate themselves better in terms of maybe where they get their news media or their news sources?
So that's a great question. As an aspiring journalist, I really find it's valuable to look across a wide array of media outlets, especially those that are coming that may favor the left or the right or say they're neutral. Like, be critical in your search and what you're looking at, because it is very easy to let those media outlets, like the narratives that they're trying to spin, deter you from one political side or push you to another side. So, just be vigilant, be aware, and just open yourself up to multiple perspectives to kind of try to gain the fullest aspect of whatever is going on in the news, because we can't be everywhere at once. So by using the resources at our disposal, we have a lot on the internet. So we might as well use it to our fullest ability, not just follow one main news outlet.
Awesome, thank you. And what is one thing that both of you are excited for the future of America with this new term for Trump? And even if you're not maybe fully MAGA or maybe not liking too much of his new kind of push in his term, but something that you're looking forward to in terms of like whole future of America.
So this is a little interesting for me. I'm very interested in seeing what happens with health departments.
Right.
My mom actually was diagnosed with cancer about a year ago. The lot of since Hilton has been amazing seeing that journey, but part of that has also been looking at what we've been eating, looking at what we've been putting on our bodies, and getting a more critical view of that. And through that, I've had a kind of a realization of how screwed up our health system is, especially as far as like, again, what we're putting in our bodies food wise and what's being considered okay. A lot of it just really isn't. And for years, the people who were saying like, hey, this isn't okay, they were kind of ostracized, they were looked at as the weirdos. And now we're having that kind of more come to light with OK Jr. And I'm very excited to see how that's going to change and hopefully better the health of America as a whole.
Right. I looked at the lineup. I didn't see anything on health. I saw energy, which I don't know if they'll touch up on health.
I don't know about for this conference, but I think it's in the overall scope.
Right. Yeah, for CPAC. Right.
Yes, for CPAC.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's going to be covered.
Interesting.
It'll be interesting because I think they're all covering something for DEI.
Yes.
And I'm actually the off-campus news editor, and I have my own column called Watching Washington and the Liberty
amazing.
Champion. And we've been covering a lot of DEI efforts and that sort of stuff. So I'm actually really excited to hear what they have to say about that and some of the movements that have been made to equalize everything across the board so that no particular party is favored based on skin color, race, or gender.
Right. That's really interesting. I also am interested in going to that talk. That's tomorrow, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. Okay, so interesting enough, my brother and I have an episode about eating and being natural in kind of foods. And my brother and I have been carnivore for a whole year. And it's because, for me, some health reasons, I had like a really bad autoimmune disease and also arthritis. So for me, changing to carnivore, completely eliminating sugar was very brutal, but it really helped. And like this diet, it's not for everybody because some people are just very much, I don't eat meat. But we do talk about kind of like how our food has been really poisoned, as well as like all this genetic modification is ridiculous and not necessary at all for something to taste yummy.
Like there's a lot of sugar alternatives. Like I've been learning how to use like coconut sugars and that sort of stuff. That's a lot easier for your body to process and a lot better for your body. And if you learn, it's not that much difficult to use. If you can find online a tons of ways to use it to make it work with your natural sweets. And honestly, I prefer the taste of it at this point because I've learned how to use it and I've put in the efforts. And I think a lot of it too is just learning. Sometimes you have to take the hard way to do what's better for your body in the long term.
Right. Thank you.
And this last interview that I did was an amazing girl who goes to UMD, who was talking about her experience in college and being conservative and how she's really growing in her conservative faith and political views.
All right, so we are day 2 of CPAC full schedule, and I am here with a lovely lady who is going to talk about being conservative in college. And just off the bat, how would you define your conservatism as Gen Z, growing up in Maryland, a very blue state?
So comparatively, I'm extremely conservative from all my peers, especially being in the liberal arts. It's really, 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 really liberal, and it's really hard to be able to stand on your own beliefs. I grew up with 2 Democrat parents, and I, growing up, always considered myself like more liberal and more of those type of beliefs. But as I've been growing up and been maturing and coming to my own self, it's really made me believe, made me realize that I'm a lot more conservative than I thought I was. But also, like, my views have changed over the years because I was so stuck within the beliefs that you're told to believe by everyone else, and also you get socially excluded if you don't believe in these things, or at least publicly.
Or ostracized.
Yes, completely ostracized. And I've seen some of my friends in college who used to be more conservative, and I've seen them start to fall into the more liberal, just very woke, where like she and I used to talk about it like in private, like just she and I together, like separate from everyone else, of course. But now, like, I've been in public with her, and she's like, "Oh yeah, did you hear like this one girl like is super conservative and like and trying basically like
putting her down in a negative way."
Exactly, in front of everyone else to get that social validation.
Right.
And then I'm just kind of sitting there like, yeah, but.
So on your college campus, are there any programs that you are involved with that are more conservative, maybe faith-based or even political-based?
Not at the moment. I don't have a lot of time to do that with because I it's a lot to do a double major,
right?
And especially just being in the liberal arts, there's not a lot of outreach within there. There are a lot of clubs, and I've been thinking about doing some of that. It's just finding the time, and then also finding the community. There's not really much of a community where I'm in.
Awesome. Well, I am part of DCYR, and we would love to have you in our next fun event. And it's really awesome because DC is such a, well, Maryland as well, liberal city, district, or state. And for us, we just talked about here at the Center for Conservative Women how you have to surround yourself with people who are like-minded because they will support you and they understand you, and you can fully develop your friendship or relationship with, you know, scratching deeper than the surface level of how are you or how's your day going. Like how do you feel about this in, you know, today's world, and the big political
And not
struggle
have to
too.
introduce myself with my name and my pronoun at the beginning of every single class.
Yeah. So another question we have for you is, what are you most excited for America's future with the new Trump administration, the new term for these next 4 years?
I'm excited for there to be more of a lot of more open-mindedness when approaching conversations instead of just barricading and refusing to even talk. Like, I'm not assuming, I don't expect everyone to agree with me, and that's okay. But I still would like to have a talk about it, because at least, like, if you can talk about things from both sides and get a better understanding, at least there's less like hatred.
Right.
And I just think hatred doesn't lead to anything good here.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, awesome. And what has been your favorite talk, or what talk are you looking forward to at CPAC?
I really enjoyed the talk that we just listened to.
Right.
And even the question that you asked, I feel like that's about like the increase in
Denying
women,
femininity.
yeah, denying femininity, women identifying as non-binary, and just I don't know, it's just really sad. It's just really sad to see.
Yeah.
And I really wish the best for all those other women, but I can't do much of it from my side of things because they'll probably just think I'm bigoted in
Right.
whatever their belief is,
Right.
and it'll just reinforce everything.
Right. And I think that goes back to your point of this new term is allowing for open-mindedness, and where I think liberal wokeism immediately shuts down and immediately labels you as racist or sexist, when in reality the ideas that are conservative based, like a woman is a woman and a man is a man, are truly based in truth.
Yes.
And it is empowering for a woman to say, I am a woman, and no, a man, you can't come into my locker room or bathroom, and I feel safe this way.
And they were not born in the wrong body. God made you the way you are, and you were perfect. You were perfect the way you are. It's so sad for all these women and men too to think that they're like not the way they should be. But you were made in this image, and you should stay that way.
Right. How important is faith for you in your religious growth as well as your political understanding of being conservative?
So it's kind of more so new to me now. I mean, I grew up like here and there. I grew up actually Methodist because that's just where my family was. But I've been having more of a growing interest in it, and I'm still trying to find my way within it. But I'm coming back.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much.
So that wraps up my little section of today, and I want us to think about how all these interviews relate to our permanent acronym, which is truth. And I think this really applies to the last acronym, T for truth, because hearing people's raw thoughts and vulnerable opinions or experiences is something that is very truthful. And one thing that I want to recap from CCAP is that when Ben Shapiro came onto the stage at the end of the second day, he was talking about how basically being conservative is the most connected to reality, and how wokeism and liberalism is so disconnected from reality. And we can see those things in as simple as what is a man, what is a woman. A man is a man, a woman is a woman, and that's it. Science can prove it, biology can prove it, and of course faith can also prove this.
Completely disconnected themselves from reality in every possible way. They ran screaming with their hair on fire, their blue hair on fire, away from reality. President Trump embraces reality with both arms. President Trump understands basic things that the left has completely abandoned and that he was willing to say. Stuff that was uncontroversial, 5 minutes ago. Like boys are not girls, right? Like these are controversial statements to make. But President Trump understands that that actually has some pretty deep ramifications when you say things like boys are not girls.
And so I really hope you enjoyed this episode, a little bit different from how we usually do things. Stay tuned for season 3, which is rewinding all the way for our permanent series with P for political. And I'll be rejoined with my brother Ayaz. And until then, stay happy. Bye.